Tom Swarbrick on LBC. Listen on your smart speaker. Just say, play LBC.
10 to 6, Friday evening, Tom Swarbrick here on LBC. As you know, means one thing. You can watch him too on LBC's YouTube page if you want. It's Simon Marks, American Week.
Tom, as you know, the Department of Justice released 3 million pages of documents pertaining to Jeffrey Epstein here this morning. But I am not a speed reader, so give me the weekend to see what's in there. We're going to start instead today in Georgia, not in Minneapolis. We will, of course, get to the slaying of Alex Pretty on the streets of that city last Saturday in a moment. But it is possible that when historians look back on the last 7 days, they will conclude that events on Wednesday in Atlanta sounded an even louder klaxon over the future of American democracy than even the indefensible gunning down of a second American citizen opposing the president's mass deportation policies.
We continue at this hour to follow breaking news. It is coming out of Atlanta. FBI agents are executing a search warrant at the Fulton County, Georgia election offices in Atlanta. Another indication that the White House continues to maintain the 2020 election was stolen.
Many people may remember Fulton County as being the site where former President Donald Trump, along with at least more than a dozen other people, faced criminal charges, accusations that they tried to interfere with the results of the 2020 election.
Just 1 week ago, Trump declaring prosecutions are next.
People will soon be prosecuted for what they did. It's probably breaking news, but it should be. It was a rigged election. Can't have rigged elections.
The coverage there of Scripps News and ABC, that line buried in the president's speech last week at the World Economic Forum in Davos, should have attracted more notice. A clear indication that a fresh breach of the independence of the Department of Justice was in the works. It is his Office of Personal Retribution now. His Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, was on hand personally for Wednesday's raid in Georgia, underscoring its importance to a president who, in an infamous phone call on January the 2nd, 2021, begged Republican election officials to help him overturn Joe Biden's election win in the state.
So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
That overture was rejected by brave Republicans in Georgia who could see attempted election fraud a mile off. But Trump has never forgiven them, nor abandoned the complete fiction that he was the winner of the keys to the White House in 2020 and not Joe Biden. So now he stands accused of deploying the FBI, his personal investigative force, to concoct a case in order to prove it.
We will not give 1 inch to those who seek to take control of elections in Fulton County.
Rob Pitts is the top elections official in Fulton County. He thinks before all this is over, he will be arrested.
This week's activities show that Fulton County is still much a target, and I'm told that I am personally a target. I'm a big boy.
The president last night was asked to explain what is going on. Why was his director of national intelligence personally leading the FBI raid? Because that is definitely not normal.
He's working very hard on trying to keep the election safe, and she's done a very good job. And they, as you know, they got into the votes. He got a signed judge's order in Georgia, and you're going to see some interesting things happening.
When he says the FBI got into the votes, he means that investigators carted away 700 boxes of them from an official storage facility, along with computers, phones, and critically, the state's electoral register, its list of voters and their addresses. That will give Trump not only the capacity to challenge again the outcome of the 2020 election, even though the votes were counted there on 3 separate occasions, it will also provide him with potential ammunition to challenge the outcome of votes that will be cast in Georgia later this year.
This is a seismic event. This should have people across the country absolutely shook. This is a huge deal.
Senator John Ossoff, a Democrat from Georgia, sounding the alarm on left-leaning MS Now.
This is a shot across the bow at the midterm elections. He tried to steal power when he lost it in 2020. We have to be prepared for all kinds of schemes and shenanigans We have to be prepared for him to try to deprive people of their voting rights.
And not only in Georgia, but in lots of other places, including Minnesota as well, the state that this week was ground zero for yet more American shame. It took agents with the Border Patrol just 6.5 seconds to kill Alex Pretty. 10 shots fired at close range as the 37-year-old intensive care unit nurse and critic of the president's mass deportation program became the second American citizen gunned down in Minneapolis this month by the president's masked thugs. As you surely know by now, Mr. Pretty was a legally licensed gun owner, disarmed of his weapon before he was killed. On Saturday, he was legally observing and filming Border Patrol operations, not in any way confronting them or getting in their way, although footage captured 11 days earlier does show him confronting federal agents elsewhere in the city, spitting at them and vandalizing their car. But his killing last Saturday and the lies told about it by top Trump officials sparked a crisis within the president's administration.
This individual showed up to impede a law enforcement operation and assaulted our officers.
Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem.
They responded according to their training and took action to defend the officer's life and those of the public around him. And I don't know of any peaceful protester that shows up with a gun and ammunition rather than a sign. This is a violent riot when you have someone showing up with weapons and are using them to assault law enforcement officers.
She falsely branded Alex Pretty a domestic terrorist. Deputy White House Chief of Staff Stephen Miller went so far as to call him an assassin. But the American public could see clearly via multiple videos of the killing filmed by onlookers that Mr. Pretty had posed no threat to the killer Border Patrol agents nor to members of the public. In fact, he was trying to help a woman who had been violently thrown to the ground by the agents before both of them were pummeled and pepper sprayed. From the swaggering commander of Border Patrol operations, Greg Bovino, these remarks that made his continuing presence in Minneapolis untenable even for this White House.
Calling law enforcement names like Gestapo or using the term kidnapping, that is a choice that is made. There are actions and consequences that come from those choices. And then when someone chooses to listen to a politician, a so-called journalist, a community leader that spouted that type of vilification towards law enforcement or anything else, when you choose to listen to that, that is a choice, and there are consequences and actions there also.
The sound of the American Constitution being shredded. By the way, for a man who doesn't like being compared to the Gestapo, it's decidedly odd that in recent weeks he strutted around Minneapolis wearing SS-style trench coats and being photographed appearing to give a Nazi salute. But by midweek, he had to go, so he was pulled out of the city and demoted. Though that wasn't enough to satisfy a growing number of the president's fellow Republicans, including Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina, demanding that Kristi Noem should lose her job as well.
What she's done in Minnesota should be disqualifying. She should be out of the job. And I mean, really, it's just amateurish. It's terrible. It's making the president look bad.
For some Trump supporters, Mr. Pretty's killing and the failure of the White House to order an independent investigation into it has been the last straw. Andrew Schultz is a podcaster who backed Trump in 2024, but has now seen enough.
They didn't even have a moment where they're like, hey, we're reviewing the footage. We're going to try to see what's really happening. All of them, Trump and all the cronies, put out collective statements that immediately blamed an American citizen that was exercising his First and Second Amendment rights, right? He has the right to protest. He has the right to carry a firearm. He's a legal gun owner, right? There's no question about this whatsoever. And the administration immediately comes out and they try to gaslight the public, which you cannot do when we have 15 different videos of what happened.
But even while the pro-gun National Rifle Association was taking issue with the White House version of events, the president could still count on the backing of former Fox News host Megyn Kelly, who has moved herself even further to the right in her current gig at XM Sirius Radio.
I know I'm supposed to feel sorry for Alex Pretty, but I don't. Do you know why I wasn't shot by Border Patrol this weekend? Because I kept my ass inside and out of their operations.
What can I tell you? There's always one. The week ends with Trump having told one broadcaster that he's de-escalating in Minneapolis, but then insisting the next day that he isn't. The new face of his still thuggish operation there is White House immigration czar Tom Homan, but rather than listen to him yesterday pretend to be the voice of soothing reason, let's revisit what he had to say only last March.
I wake up every morning loving my job because I work for the greatest president in the history of my life, and we're going to make this country safe again. I'm proud to be a part of this administration. We're not stopping. I don't care what the judges think. I don't care what the left thinks. We're coming.
Little wonder that this week the chief judge in Minnesota said that ICE agents have likely violated more court orders this month alone than some federal agencies have violated in their entire existence. And in case you missed it, one of the things the White House is demanding in exchange for a withdrawal of some ICE and Border Patrol agents from Minneapolis is the electoral register for the entire state of Minnesota. Put another way, the president is saying, give me your list of voters and I'll stop gunning some of them down. It's quite a pitch, that, Tom, and it shows that we've all got to keep our eyes on November's midterms because the president is already plotting to game them in his favour.
From Washington, D.C., Simon Marks, American Week.